Coming up on the April 13th edition of Carolina Week.
Taxes in Chapel Hill are going up and residents are getting fed up. We'll take a look at the town's attempt to tighten the budget.
And then the controversy surrounding college drinking. When does fun end and binge begin?
And will he or won't he? Junior forward Rashad McCants announces his plans concerning the NBA.
Plus, we'll take a look at your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and more. Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening. You're watching the Wednesday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Joe Mott.
And I'm Lydia Garlikov. Earlier Wednesday afternoon, forward Rashad McCants announced his plans for the upcoming year. If his departure to the NBA was a sure thing, then why hold a press conference?
That question and the hope it generated had the campus buzzing all day Wednesday. Let's get right to sports anchor Ann Sexton. Ann?
Well, guys, unfortunately, a press conference that happens after the season generally indicates that a player is going to turn pro. And Rashad McCants wasted no time in announcing his decision.
I'm going to give up my college eligibility, to enter the NBA draft, and I'm not going to give up on my college education. I will still be attending University of North Carolina, through summer school.
It's expected by many that point guard Raymond Felton will join McCants in the NBA, and both Felton and Marvin Williams have said that they're going to come to a decision and make announcements in the near future. We'll have more from McCants later on in the show. Joe?
Ann Sexton live in the studio. Thanks, Ann.
April 15th is upon us, and that means taxes are on the minds of many folks throughout the U.S., including our own R.J. Weber.
That's right, Lydia. Taxes are even more of a concern now for people in Chapel Hill. Every year, the Tax Foundation publishes a list of the most tax-friendly states in the U.S. And although North Carolina ranks in the middle of the pack, Chapel Hill has some of the highest taxes in the entire state.
When folks think about the town of Chapel Hill, some think about the prestigious university. Others think about basketball. But the residents of Chapel Hill, well, they think high taxes.
From what we hear from the citizens, people don't want their taxes to go up, especially people on fixed incomes and people of moderate means. It's a hardship. Taxes in Chapel Hill are high.
And that's why Joe Kapowski and a committee of concerned citizens hope the Chapel Hill Town Council will use their suggestions to minimize a projected 10-cent per $100 property tax increase town officials say they need to balance the town budget.
The committee that was appointed was not a committee of fiscal conservatives who say, don't spend a damn dime of my money for anything.
Instead, members suggested such ideas as selling the current Chapel Hill Museum building to help alleviate shortfalls in the budget. In turn, the museum would move to the downtown post office building. Committee members think the new location would promote higher traffic volume, but town officials are hesitant about losing an asset.
I'm not personally in favor of selling that building, at least not right now. I'd rather see us rent it to somebody. I think we could make a good bit of money that way.
The committee also proposed that apartment buildings, Greek housing facilities, churches, and schools be required to pay for garbage collection services, earning the town nearly $400,000.
It was our responsibility to be the heavy, to suggest ways to lower the property tax rate, to shrink the budget, and we knew that would be painful. We knew that people will howl, and the howls are starting.
Some of those howls are based on the committee's suggestion to give police officers a 3% raise and other town employees a 1.5% raise.
RJ, well, what kind of cuts will the city have to make?
Well, Lydia, the committee wants the town to limit the budgets of the Human Services Advisory Board and the Parks and Rec Department. The council will review all of these and present a budget on June 27th.
Okay, thanks, RJ.
Thanks.
Well, government officials raised taxes to meet budget. Meanwhile, local schools are also facing budget concerns.
As planning for the 2005-2006 school year gets underway, the superintendent of Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools, Neil Peterson, is recommending his biggest budget ever, but local schools might still get shortchanged. Peterson is asking Orange County commissioners to raise per pupil funding next year by $270, an amount he says is necessary to maintain adequate funding for current programs, such as the after-school program at Smith Middle School. But Peterson says cuts in funding at the state level might force cuts in local education programs.
I think that it is unlikely that we will receive full funding for our local budget, and I think people have to understand that if we don't, it's not a matter of simply giving up on some things that we would like to have, but it would be actually reducing programs and services that we already have.
Peterson says teaching assistant positions will be affected if the budget fails to pass. After-school care and field trip funding could also be reduced. The school board will make its final decision on next year's budget by July.
Meanwhile, Chapel Hill Carborough schools are participating in Down 20, a campaign to reduce energy use by 20%. By encouraging students and teachers to shut off computer monitors and turn off the lights, they're helping to alleviate budget shortfalls in an effort to save energy and money.
I teach 100 students. So if those students go into other classrooms and they're encouraging teachers and they're encouraging their peers, then that kind of spreads all throughout the school.
So far, the program has cut energy costs this year by almost $200,000.
At least some of the school budget goes toward paying law enforcement officers. Each system school has at least one local officer on staff, known as a school resource officer, or SRO. East Chapel Hill High's SRO, Officer Rex Gibson, patrols the halls, controlling gang activity, fights between students, and keeping trespassers off campus. He also deals with concerned parents and ongoing investigations. So lots of people hope budget cuts don't affect his position. Well, money matters weren't the only thing on the minds of town council members this week.
That's right. The council also passed a resolution supporting a House bill calling for beer keg registration. The law means consumers would have to buy permits in order to buy and transport beer kegs. All kegs would need labels with the buyer's name, address, telephone number, permit number, and even the location where the buyer would consume the beer. Those in favor of the bill hope it would curb underage drinking.
People have mixed feelings not only about this bill, but about drinking in general. As Carolina Week's Natasha Vuklik tells us, it's hard to define how much is too much.
When many people think of college students, a certain reputation comes to mind.
College equals beer.
According to the American Medical Association, a recent Harvard study found that approximately 2 out of 5 college students are binge drinkers, which researchers define as drinking 5 or more drinks in a row for men and 4 drinks for women. However, one UNC student thinks binge drinking is a harsh phrase for a popular activity.
I don't really see it that way. I just think that this is the time in your life where, everyone just is trying to have fun and live it up.
The student, who we'll refer to as Joe, drinks 8 to 10 drinks at a time, which he says is common.
I think a lot of people in college are binge drinkers. There's always times where you kind of have a bad night and you wake up and, you got in a fight with some of your friends or something like that, or something stupid. You take a few days off drinking because, it makes you like an idiot.
So why does he go back to drinking after those bad nights?
I don't know, just because it's fun.
Some students claim that they are going to the bar to only have one drink. But according to one bartender, they can often have much more than one drink. 15 drinks, to be exact. And while some don't think that's a problem, others think that's a huge problem.
It's completely out of control.
A bartender knows the effects of too much alcohol.
We'll have people come in the next day, they're still hungover from first day, and say, oh, I didn't feel like, I couldn't make it to class today. So they'll start drinking again.
Kimball thinks things should change.
It seems like kids should start being more real and being less drunk all the time.
Joe says it's a matter of responsibility. But responsibility is difficult to measure. In Chapel Hill, I'm Natasha Vuklik, Carolina Week.
For more information about responsible drinking, check out our website, carolinaweek.org.
In other news, the student struggle to get felony charges dropped against suspended cafeteria worker Vel Dowdy continues. Tuesday, representatives from several campus organizations voiced concerns about what they say are civil rights violations by Aramark Corporation, the company that manages Carolina Dining Services. Students gave the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs a detailed list of their demands, including that Aramark reinstate Dowdy and cease what the students call anti-union efforts. Wednesday, students gathered in South Building for a wait-in, but if Chancellor James Measer still doesn't meet with them, they say they aren't backing down.
If this doesn't succeed, this is not the end. We'll have to figure out some other ways, step it up a little bit, put more pressure on the university to meet with us, for the Chancellor himself to meet with us and take our demands seriously and take the intimidation of workers seriously.
The university has released a statement saying the dispute is a personnel matter between a private contractor and its employee.
You might recognize the name Al Franken from the late-night comedy show Saturday Night Live. Wednesday, the comedian was broadcasting his live radio talk show from UNC and using his signature sketch comedy style to tackle politics. Reporter Nora Warren has the story.
Al Franken took to the stage and made fans at Carolina in seconds.
How badly Duke sucks.
The Al Franken Show airs daily on local radio station WCHL, and Wednesday, Franken and co-host Catherine Lanfer were live in the Union Auditorium.
And the Al Franken Show is on the air.
Students and residents cleared their schedules, leaving the theater standing room only.
I took the day off from work to be here for this. I am missing my 11 o'clock class.
So I work part-time. I can easily slip in another time.
The celebrated left-wing comic started the show ranting about the current right-wing government.
This country has had a little problem in its intelligence.
And took a few jabs at his conservative radio counterpart, Rush Limbaugh.
Americans on the minimum wage, my friends, are teenagers.
The entertainment seemed appropriate for this crowd. In Chapel Hill, I'm Nora Warren, Carolina Week.
Franken's show is heard on Air America 5 days a week on more than 50 stations nationwide.
Well, summer will be here before you know it, and chances are you're planning to travel.
Just because your flight's been booked doesn't mean you're ready to go. Coming up, some painstaking preparations you can't afford to forget.
Hey, I was checking you out, and I was thinking, how about you come out to my car and we can have a couple beers, fool around a little bit. You know, I could give you herpes.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
MAD. Face the brutal truth about underage drinking.
What is a hero? Are heroes born, or are they made? In after-school programs, your kids will uncover hidden strengths, discover they have the power to change their future, and find the hero inside themselves. Let us know you on after-school programs in your area. Call 1-800-USA-LEARN. After-school programs, helping kids find the hero within.
Many students are planning trips abroad this summer.
Whether you're going to study or vacation, medical reporter Subhashini Joy says immunizations should be in your travel plans.
And it just goes in the soft part of your arm. It doesn't even go in the muscle.
UNC student health nurses are already giving shots to students traveling this summer. Immunizations might be one key to staying healthy while on the road, as one UNC senior who traveled to Africa explains.
I feel like it's really important to get all your immunizations because you never know what conditions you're going to be in or what situations you might end up in.
Two of the most common immunizations are for hepatitis A and typhoid. Hepatitis A is a series of 2 shots, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says travelers need to begin this series at least 1 month before leaving.
You can continue with the towelette in your hand.
Student health nurses hold clinics to teach students about the proper immunizations for the countries they'll visit.
A great deal of our students are going to Central America, different countries. We're sending a group to Brazil, Peru, some go to Africa, Malawi, those in Southeast Asia.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends various vaccinations for different parts of the world. Vaccines work through the injection or ingestion of a dead or weakened form of a bacterium or a virus. That's what scientists call an antigen. The antigen causes your body to produce antibodies that fight future invaders. Health experts say serious side effects of immunizations are rare. Most are generally mild. Student Health carries most of the vaccines you'll need before going abroad. In Chapel Hill, I'm Subhashini Joy, Carolina Week.
Student Health holds international travel clinics on Wednesdays and Thursdays. For more information, visit our website, carolinaweek.org.
3 meningitis cases in 1 academic year has UNC officials looking at a new vaccination. The Federal Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices recently recommended Menactra for children and college students. College students are often at higher risk because they share such close living spaces. Student health officials believe this new vaccination could be more beneficial than the previous treatment.
It's thought that it will last maybe from 8 to 9 years. And with the older vaccine, it seems like it wore off, the immunity wore off.
Meningitis vaccines, new or old, are currently not required for incoming students. If you'd like the vaccine for next year, Student Health will make it available in September.
This week, the North Carolina Hillel and the Carolina Union Activities Board are sponsoring Holocaust Remembrance Week.
Stellar Albers, Ottilie Adler.
The highlight of the week is the 9th annual Reading of the Names Vigil. The names of Holocaust victims were read continuously for 24 hours in the pit, starting at noon on Tuesday. More than 250 students, faculty, and community members participated. On a much lighter note, if you're planning to drive in downtown Chapel Hill on Sunday, you might have to make other plans.
Apple Chill is in town. Police will shut down Franklin Street for the annual spring fair from Henderson Street by the post office all the way to Millette Street. That's by Panera Bread and the old Vizart building. Columbia Street will also be closed from Rosemary Street to Cameron Avenue. Vendors will sell their crafts on Sunday, rain or shine. Don't plan to bring your dog to Franklin Street. A town ordinance bans pets from street fairs. Well, Meredith has our weather now. We've had some dreary days lately.
We sure have. What do you think the weekend holds for this festival, maybe?
Well, you know, it's been a really rainy spring, but there may be a change coming up
Just
in the
maybe.
forecast.
All
So
right.
I'll tell you about that coming up. But a dreary day means more than just the sun disappearing from campus. Coming up, will warm weather spring back, or can we expect a little bit more drizzle?
I try as best I can to stop underage drinking, but I can't do it alone. We bring these kids in and all they get is a slap on the wrist and then they're at it again. We need help from everyone, including parents and judges. Otherwise, we're all part of the problem. And we become just another tool to help them drink.
Since 1975, the enforcement of minimum drinking age laws has saved over 17,000 lives. Say nothing, do nothing, stop nothing.
Come on, boy. Come on. What do you got there, Yogi? Huh? What have you found? What do you got, little fella? Drop it. Looks like someone's butt. Man, they probably lost it playing with their kids. Hey, leave it. Come on. Come on.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Well, in your weather headlines, we do have some very cool evenings coming up, but we will have warming temperatures. It's been a very cool week out there, and we do have sunny skies in your forecast. So it's been a really rainy spring, but that is about to change. As we look at the satellite map, just some clouds moving through the region currently, and as that moves through Wednesday and Thursday, it looks like it could clear out as we go towards the weekend. And back behind that, pretty much clear skies, so that's a sign of what's to come. A very nice weekend coming up, and even into early next week, looks like it's going to be pretty sunny out there. And as we look at your forecast map, we can see what's actually going on. We have these two low pressure systems that's sitting over us. What this creating is cold air damming, which is basically just the cold air is being funneled over North Carolina, keeping our temperatures very cold for this early spring weather. And back to the west, high pressure system starts to dominate our weather. As we go into Friday, this system will start to move on closer, and that's going to mean a warm up and much nicer temperatures for us as we go into the weekend with sunny skies. So it looks like a great forecast coming up. Looking at your Carolina Week 4-day forecast now. On Friday, still staying a little bit cool out there, only 59 degrees. We should be in the mid to the upper 60s by this time of the year, and your low temperature in the around 40 degrees. On Saturday now, bright sunny skies, and there will be a bit of a warm up on Saturday with your high temperature of 61 degrees and a low of 40 degrees. And now as you go towards Sunday, look at that warm up, a 10-degree warm up as you're going from Saturday to Sunday. So a very nice day on Sunday, and even heading into Monday, looks like it's going to be great weather out there. Now if you're heading to the beach this weekend, again, it's going to be a little bit cool on Saturday, only highs in the upper 50s, maybe making it to the lower 60s, and the same for Sunday, basically just lower 60s. So a little bit cool out there, but still a pretty nice weekend. And heading to the mountains, looks like it's going to be a great time to go and maybe take out a weekend hike in the mountains or go for a camping trip. High on Saturday, 59 degrees, and for Sunday, 65 degrees with mostly sunny skies both days. So it just looks beautiful weather out there all around wherever you are in North Carolina. Now, if you're heading out, and look at the pollen forecast, it is very high as you're looking at the trees. You've probably noticed that your cars have been covered with some green pollen out there, so your pollen report is very high, but fortunately the grass and the weeds are really low for this time of the year, so if your allergies are acting up, that's probably why, and that's going to last for at least a couple more weeks. So.
Okay, so despite the pollen, we have some good weather coming up.
We have great weather coming up, so as long as you can take that allergy medicine and deal with that, you know.
Well, thank you very much, Meredith.
Well, good. Anne's got our sports. That pollen is not going to keep me from going out to see some baseball and softball.
Definitely not. A few sneezes are worth it for the Great Carolina outdoor sports.
That's right.
Coming up, the basketball team held its annual award ceremony Tuesday night. And for those in attendance, it was said to be a very emotional and touching night that even the players didn't want to end.
AIDS has killed more children worldwide than there are in all the grade schools in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Washington, Atlanta, and Miami combined. The time to do something is now.
To a child, a little of your time can make a lifetime of difference. That's why the Greenville Family Partnership sponsored a hike, because kids with something to do are less likely to do drugs.
Standing right in front of them.
Whether you're a good storyteller or a good listener, you can help. To find out about community drug prevention programs, call toll-free 1-877-KIDS-313.
I can keep a kid off drugs.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Ann Sexton with more on Rashad McCants and the basketball team. Rashad McCants has been through a lot at Carolina, from coaching changes he was blamed for to media storms he helped ignite. It's been a rocky tenure for the talented junior, but he will forego his senior season and head to the NBA being called something else, a champion.
My whole purpose, of this whole year was to come back and win a national championship and help, a lot of my teammates become better players. And I think for that whole goal was successful. We're making a lot more guys on the team better basketball players, and we definitely reached our goal for winning the national championship. So I felt like, my whole reason for coming back last year was, to get those goals accomplished, and I did.
Tuesday night, the basketball team was together for one last time and had its award ceremony where the players spoke and voted Raymond Felton and Sean May co-MVPs. I found sometimes anchors like me just get in the way. So here are Melvin, Jackie, Jawad, and Roy in their own words.
I'm happy that you all are able to celebrate another championship and the fact that we are now and will forever be the best program in college basketball. We have something together that we also persevered. We stand here today triumphant.
All the doubters we faced our entire career, me, Jackie, and Melvin, the first came in and people pointed the finger at us. Now they just point those fingers straight up in the sky because we are number one now.
I want to thank my teammates. I really appreciate you guys. I had fun. These last 4 years have been great. And I'm going to miss you guys. And I just want to say I love you all.
The team that took me and the rest of the coaches on a magnificent ride. I love you.
Well, if you still can't get enough of your 2005 national champions, point guard Raymond Felton will throw out the first pitch in Friday night's Carolina-Miami baseball game. And I'm betting people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come. Well, plenty of people came out Tuesday night, despite how chilly it was, to support the Tar Heel baseball team when it took on Davidson in a midweek matchup. Freshman Andy Gale took the mound, and a cold evening got even colder, with the Davidson lineup whiffing at all these pitches. Gale was on fire, striking out 10 and going the distance to complete the game shutout, Carolina's first of the season. After he talked about his role on the pitching staff, the Carolina bullpen hurlers made sure to thank him for giving them the night off.
We have a great pitching staff, and anything I can do to kind of help. If I can win all the midweek games I can, that's going to help the team. So if I can just do that all year, it's good with me. You just can't give.
Well, it looks like senior Robert Woodard made Gale taste victory. It's just too bad that pie was made of shaving cream. Well, this weekend, Woodard and Carolina's bullpens might need some rest. The 7th-ranked Tar Heels will tangle with the 9th-ranked Miami in the made-for-TV clash. All 3 games will air on ESPN Network. Well, there aren't a whole lot of sports in which Carolina is a big underdog when it comes to playing Duke. It was Wednesday afternoon, however, when the 45th-ranked men's tennis team took on the 5th-ranked Blue Devils. Seniors Jeff Boyd and Jonathan Janda said goodbye to their Carolina careers. Both seniors received personalized Rashad McCants jerseys before the game. Janda and Ryan Lucici lost their doubles match 8-2, while the duo of Boyd and Brad Pomeroy struggled at the beginning of their match and were down 4 Wednesday afternoon. The match will be worth 1 point in this year's Carlisle Cup standings. Well, Carolina seems to be doing pretty well in those Carlisle Cup standings. Carolina has 11.5 points already. Duke only has 6.5. So there's 8 more points to go.
8 more points to go. And how much more of the season do we have left?
Well, it's to the end of the school semester.
To the end of the school semester, okay.
Yep.
So we definitely have some chances to come back on that. Or stay ahead, I guess.
That's right, stay ahead.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ann.
Thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
Well, tax day is almost here.
But there might be a few items you're forgetting to file. We'll tell you about some taxing taxes you've never been told about coming up.
North Carolina is where the wonders never cease. It's where visitors and residents alike can be touched by these things and always remember the embrace of clouds around a mountain peak, sparkling water forever in a hurry, a bridge less traveled, an enchanted wetland forest, and the place where the sun meets the sea.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
You've heard the saying, the only things in life that are certain are death and taxes.
One thing that's not certain is where some of America's tax laws came from and why they still exist today. Reporter Mary McGuirk shows us some of the wackiest taxes on the books.
Did you know that in North Carolina, as soon as you pay for a new set of tires, you're already paying to get rid of them? It's called a scrap tire disposal tax. And if you want a deck of cards in Alabama, you can bet you'll be paying extra. But one UNC student says he had no idea about these taxes.
No, which I think demonstrates a very key fact in taxation is that most people don't look at their bills.
A convenience store owner for more than 35 years, Larry Trollinger, says he's seen many of these taxes come into existence.
Over the years, there used to not be any tax at all on ice, and now it's taxed at 7%, just like most everything else, magazines, cards.
According to the Tax Foundation, a nonprofit research group, people across the country are paying peculiar sales tax every day.
So if you make it out to the Windy City, you might want to stick to drinking soda in a can. Guzzling down fountain drinks there costs a whopping 9% extra. In Chapel Hill, I'm Mary McGuirk, Carolina Week.
Luckily, I don't have to worry about finding those obscure things. My parents are doing them for me.
My dad is a financial advisor, so he does help me along with that and kind of teaches me. But we have some important things to remind you of coming up this weekend. Apple Chill is coming up this weekend. Right. And last year, there were some problems with crime, and there was a stabbing, I believe, at Apple Chill, and some other problems going on. But the police force has done very well with different things happening this year.
That's right. And if you choose not to head out to Apple Chill, we've got lots of sports going on, so it should be a good weekend.
Yes, we do. Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks so much for watching. Have a good night.